them down unless you have the CCs needed to do so.
So the scaling from the side of Kingsmen is relatively scary when we are looking at Lancelot as well as Benedetta. Benedetta, pretty much 6 items, you don't even need boots. Just go straight for a full item and you can pretty much count Benedetta as the carry herself. And thus, you're gonna have to be careful about Kingsmen's lineup. Their ganking potential when it comes to the early stages of the game can settle down onto the side of EVOS, whereby they'll probably have a little bit of trouble here and there. EVOS SG, they have decided to go for a final pick, and that is going to be an Esmeralda, which is going to be a great sign when it comes to dealing with the Fervius on one hand, going to be dealing with the Cho on the other hand when it comes to using Shumpo, although it's not that big of a deal, but it helps. It really helps them when it comes to initiating because they don't have a really good way of closing the gaps in between of the two teams.
And yes, and that is going to be the first draft of the MPL Season 2. Very interesting picks throughout. I think obviously the most surprising one is going to be the Link, which we never ever saw Potato play anything other than Marksman in the first season.
And here we go into the Land of Dawn. Today, we've got day number 1 of the regular. We shouldn't be looking too much off is Azura amount of damage when it comes to her ultimate, and Chu with the tanky potential.
Yeah, but it is going to be Benedetta cutting the mid wave, Farsa on the side. Very, very interesting link competition coming up from Kingsmen, but we are going to be kicking off an early engagement in the jungle of EVOS SG.
It's very understandable that they would want to go for aggressive, and it doesn't seem like it's too much of a vertical jungling, which we kind of seen from the other regions that often. But Jay started it off with a bang, getting himself with the first blood right on top of JPL. So a little bit of a shout out to those people that have called out for Jay to get himself the first blood. If you called him out, and if you are the one who said that he is going to get the first blood, then you are in for quite a treat. More aggression coming in from the side of Kingsmen. They would still want to put in a strong front onto the side of EVOS. They try to discourage them to take the blue buff, ensuring that that Potato that's playing on Link don't get the purple buff, and that is one of the most important things. They managed to do that, and thus extending the time that Link takes to come online.
Yeah, a little bit of a small misplay coming up from EVOS SG, giving away the first, but I think JPL felt a little bit too overconfident. They were trying to bait so that they could use the ejector to bring the Benedetta into the tier 2, but unfortunately they did not expect, Jay to call their bluff, goes in, and well, we all saw what that happened, giving away the first blood. Not the best stuff for EVOS SG, and Kingsmen on the other side going to be very happy about that. Of course, are going to be babysitting on this tank Cho. I don't think it's going to have too much problem just because Paquito is able to generate the shield with the knockout punch.
Yeah, so instead of typically seeing a Farsa in the middle lane and Benedetta over the top lane constantly just cutting lanes, we are seeing more of Benedetta onto the middle, and thus that's going to help Benedetta get himself into a team fight a lot easier, and thus aggression is all over the place. And not to forget, Wings by Wings from Farsa can help her get to middle lane as fast as possible as well. And with that all said and done, the turtle is going to go straight down over to the side of Kingsmen, and they're pretty happy with what they have got. But unfortunately, we do have Farsa that found himself in the midst of a pickle as EVOS took themselves another kill, or rather the first kill, onto the side of the Cho.
EVOS SG now trying to find as much farm as they can on the map, while JPL trying to be the nuisance that he can. The ejector is going to land Jay right on the Odia Bambi, but better airstrike comes up. 2 shots is not enough, but it nearly brings JPL for his second time from EVOS.
Well, here he knew that he's not going to be that safe if he just continues himself at the top lane, especially how pushed up the lane already is. So whenever possible, they will want to get some nice little coverage throughout the river and ensuring that they have got some mobility as well as visibility throughout the map. They need to make sure that they don't get ganked down by Kingsmen. As I've said, the aggression is going to be key from Kingsmen. You can see that they have been moving quite a lot. We've got Jay that just constantly just going in and then just getting himself out completely unscathed. And that is the power of Benedetta. He needs to know when is a good time to go in, when is a good time to come out, and just completely ensure that the Link don't get a peaceful farm.
Now, I have a little bit of a small issue with Link, right? I think he's absolutely great, don't get me wrong. But the thing about Link is that he's very resource heavy. He's this late game assassin that if he does get a good early game, yes, he can carry. But you can see that, Kingsmen, they're just putting a lot of pressure onto Potato's jungle every single time that blue buff is up. Because that's just how Link is. He needs that blue buff, he needs to get an energy regen. And that is sort of a weakness that KGM can look to exploit.
But it doesn't seem like things are going to be working well for the start of EVOS. And you have JPL going to be the first one to go straight down from that team fight as Jay takes himself one. Gear gets another one on for the side of Forza. Most of the members from the side of EVOS have decided to turn tails and run, ensuring that they don't lose any more valuable heroes over to the side of Kingsmen for a hurdle after all. So they understand what they should be doing. They decided to just ignore the objective all in all, because they also kind of know that they aren't as good in the early stages to just kind of fight it out. As Taylor is still somewhere around the map. Okay, so he's in mid, right? He doesn't seem to be available to go for the darkening, but EVOS, they're not exactly prioritizing the one hero that they want to bring down.
Oh, it's kind of pretty tough when you look over the side of Kingsmen, who are going to play a little bit of a siege. They try to dive near the tier 1. Astoria's Eye will not land, but the Demonic Force will be able to connect. Gear nearly goes down, and now Sayla's going to try to juggle some damage, some key items coming up for the members of EVOS Ashley. But look at JPL, he wants this gang. The members of EVOS Ashley follow up as well. They inject her onto the back line. Will Potato be able to get this kill? Yes, he will. Q will fall in the top lane.
That's not going to be a good sign for the side of Kingsmen after all. They tried to go aggressively over to the top lane, almost getting a kill down onto Paquito, but it doesn't seem like they're going to let him run away that easily after all. I mean, he did try to go for Demonic Force. There was just a sliver of health onto Gear. He just kind of casually walked away, as I believe that it was Salem that was kind of pretty close. But all in all, it was a good run. It was a good effort from the side of Chu, but yikes. That's a big yikes.
Yeah, he kind of overstayed his welcome, and now Kingsmen lose another member in the form of Odia Bambi in the middle of the lane. And you can see Kingsmen are starting to lose that momentum that they had in the early after that first blood. And EVOS actually, they lost both turtles, but you can see them now starting to regain quite a bit of farm. They're using the mobility to distract. Now Jay caught in a very bad position. Will he be able to get off this alive?
I don't think that EVOS will be able to get a kill here. Chu, he's still staying himself up in the top lane, trying to defend his turret as much as possible, because that is going to be the key detail for the side of Kingsmen, right? They managed to bring down the turret, the first tier turret in the top lane. That is going to enable quite a bit of mobility and just kind of gank potential from the side of Fervius. And as long as he's unlocked there, he should be pretty much good. They kind of trade themselves with one turret for 2 kills. In my opinion, it's not that bad. They're still kind of relatively balanced. But one thing that's not balanced is the very fact that EVOS, they are still holding themselves out pretty darn well, right? It kind of seems as though the winner is the EVOS when it comes to lane domination as well as the map control. But it does seem like things are going to be chasing out real soon as Chu goes straight down. We're going to be looking at the start of Potato currently being kicked right into the air, but swiftly get himself right out of there as Adamir follows right through. He does have the Stardust Dance. It's just going to be bringing him right in, getting a kill down onto Odia Bambi as well. 3 member down for the side of Kingsmen, while Kingsmen, they didn't even get a single member down. And that is what I mean by the domination that EVOS have got onto their feet, as well as the map control that they've got.
Kingsman was so close. The way of the dragon coming out from Forza was perfect. He catch Potato there, but they just didn't have enough follow-up or damage to bring the link down. And that gave EVOS Ashley all the momentum they need. They took out a lot of these huge CCs that KGM put onto them. And the moment Esmeralda came into the Stardust Dance, they caught Kingsman on a bad footing. And that's where Esmeralda is a threat. You can just come in, soak up all the shield that Chu has gained with his hit, and that's just completely just turned into a monster of abyss with all that shield. And it's just so tough for Kingsman to bring them down, because once the Feathered Ash goes down, they just don't have enough burst to kill the Esmeralda.
So Odia Bambi finds himself in quite a little bit of pickle. We do have JPL force ejector right onto the side of Odia Bambi, but unfortunately he's unable to get himself right out of all of that action. And even for the side of Azura X, pops right down with the Feathered Ash Strike. On the other side, Jay just went straight in. Electro final blow, tries to bring Potato all the way down to the all-time low. He is in the critical health, but he with his pinch point gets himself right from one place to another. Objective from one place to another, while Forza as well as Jay find themselves right at the front lines. Crosshairs being pinned right onto their heads, and with Jay and Odia Bambi taken down, Kingsmen are unable to find themselves with the winning kill, the winning formula to even break themselves right out of this shell that EVOS has trapped them within.
One cannot forget the threat that Lunox can put on. I think Kingsmen once again doing very well in the initial engagements, but they just are too greedy. A couple of times now they've been caught out of position, always trying to dive for those kills, and I can't blame them for it, right? It always seems like they're one step closer or one step away from taking Potato down, and time and time again, this link has been able to escape unpunished, and this is what's triggering Kingsmen. They really want to go for this kill, but EVOS actually now getting a lot of control in the turtle speed.
As the turtle goes right down, the turtle will be taken down by Ling. They're continuing their assault right on the side of Jay, but unfortunately the electro final blow will be able to help him get away while Forza is deep within the enemy's lines. He did manage to pull off the Widow Dragon right on top of Sayla though, but no follow-up. No follow-up kills though. But Chu, he still got himself right in. Demonic Force gets himself right in, but Jay, he even went in staggering through. Kingsmen kind of seems like they are just going in one by one, while Azura X and Odia Bambi realizes that they shouldn't go in. Jay tried to pull off his very own by just executing himself as the Benedetta, thinking that he could have gotten away.
This is an insane death ball threat coming out from EVOS. As you just look at the draft, who are you really going to single target out, right? Every single time Potato is nearly dying, you've got JPL coming in with the ejector, trying to save his carry in the nick of time. You got Sayla just shooting those duckening op shots from the back line. You got Edimer fronting the lines alongside JPL, and you input a Paquito into that draft. The knockout punches as well as the heavy blow is just causing so much trouble for KGM. I think KGM still has a way back into this game. They can try to find a couple of knockoffs. Like I said, I think their draft still has a lot of gank potential, but the way that EVOS actually is playing now is just so hard to pick a single target out.
Yeah, it's really tough. You can see that Jay just pretty much got singled out, even though he does have the electro final blow. That JPL can just cover the gaps in so quickly, but we've got Potato just gonna be in the air, just gonna be slamming down with Blaze, as he is just gonna be clearing things out, just gonna be left with Chu as well as Forza. They're trying to hold themselves in the very own onto the first tier turret. It's gonna go straight down, heading themselves to the second tier turret. Chu is just walking away, waltzing himself away, but all 5 members from the side of EVOS, they are still alive and they can very easily bring down his health with no problems whatsoever. They don't even have to care about the very fact that the second tier inhibitor turret, or rather the second tier turret, is just hammering them away.
And Lord is coming up in about a couple of seconds. They still don't have Chu just yet. EVOS actually pretty sure they're going to start this lot pretty soon once Potato is done with that jungle camp. I don't see a way that Kingsmen can contest for this lot. I think it's better if they try to push away their lanes, but EVOS actually they have better plans in their mind. They're setting up a gank here. Sayla, as well as JPL setting up a trap. Forza, are you going to face check that bush?
Slowly going in. Jukundo, he managed to kind of bait out one of the shots from the side of Sayla. So they know for a fact that Lunox was in the brush, but they don't know that JPL is still in that brush. And Forza, still kind of very cheekily checking out. He knew that the one person is inside there.
He doesn't care, he's just chilling there. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take a kick to face, it's fine. You're not going to damage me, you're going to throw tank. Yeah. You don't have damage, even if you face check, as long as there is no gank potential coming from Kingsman, I don't think that's going to be a problem. And EVOS, well, they are starting to push the side lane. Esmeralda already cleared the top side, and that allows her to rotate back into Lord Speed, bringing it to a 5v4 if Benedetta doesn't clear and join the rest of Kingsmen fast enough.
It does seem like JPL has expended his ultimate on the side of Forza, so we should not be looking at unstoppable force from JPL anytime soon. So if Kingsmen want to jump right in, this is probably a pretty good time, but unfortunately, this is going to be 4 versus 4. Who have the worst kind of fight over here? I'm not too sure. Kingsmen losing out on to Benedetta, EVOS losing out on to Esmeralda. It kind of seems like as though that the Esmeralda is a lot more needed than a Benedetta is needed for this team fight because of the fact that they do have Q. We do have the Feather Airstrike activated by the side of Azura X, but unfortunately Gear comes in from behind and he did manage to find himself and completely abrupt Azura X's ultimate, while the rest of EVOS SG, they are hot on the tails on Forza and even managed to get himself a really nice ejector right on top of Forza. That is one tag down. They are gonna be looking at more kills down on the bottom at the second tier turret, bring Chu to a sliver of health, but they are unable to do what they wanted. And Chu going straight down, 2 men down from the side of Kingsmen is really kind of unfortunate. The Lord is now free for the picking. Kingsmen with only 3 members is gonna be tough to even fight back.
Yeah, once again, a good way of the Dragon Kick from Forza onto Potato, but Kingsman just can't seem to find an angle into the full lot because, like I said, it's like a death watch strat. Even if they single out Potato, as long as it's not kicked into the backline, he's kicked away, there is no way that Kingsman can follow up that kick. And I think EVOS actually have set themselves up for success. If you look at the draft, you look at the way they're drafting, they're making sure that Potato is well protected. At the same time, they have so much burst coming up from Lunox, and this is a big threat for KGM. I think Kingsmen now, all they have to do, or rather what they can do, is try to turn it up, hopefully make, wait for EVOS SG to make 1 or 2 mistakes. But if EVOS SG, looking at how they are playing with the discipline, making sure that the waves are pushed out evenly, it's going to be hard to see how Kingsmen can come back from this one.
I can see that Kingsmen would even want to try to go for kind of a split push kind of thing. They have Jay, they have Chu, they do have Odibambi as well. They can actually kind of divide themselves into one lane each. But because of the fact that EVOS is such a giant death ball, it is tough for them to even do that. Electro Final Blow is used to ensure that the lot goes straight down, but it doesn't seem like Ademir is going to let them do that. It's just going to be jumping right in with the Falling Star when trying to single out Forza, but Forza found himself trapped within the enemy's lines because of the very fact that he used the Way of the Dragon. Ademir is just going to be continuing his assault and just being the frontline tank, ensuring that no one passes through him and try to get his way over to Sailor. HP all the way down though. Chu brought Ademir all the way down as well. So top lane inhibitor turret is down. Bottom lane inhibitor turret is destroyed as well. The next one in their mind, and the next one is going to be middle lane. As Jay, he tried to go for the eye for an eye, but unfortunately he did not manage to bait any shots from all of that at all. And the Tempest of Blade just going to be crashing down within of his range, and that is going to be Jay going down 35 seconds onto his kill timer with the claw currently 50% health. We're going to be seeing slowly going straight down, but it's okay because it does seem like the rest of the side from Kingsmen, they're still pushing every single one of the EVOS members back out. Every single one of the inhibitor turrets is now down. EVOS, this is now just a waiting game.
Well, that was the best result that EVOS actually could have asked out for the fight. Yes, they did lose Ademir for pushing in too deep, but they managed to get all 3 tier 3 turrets like you mentioned. And from here on, it's more about just starving out Kingsmen farm, making sure that they can't step out, soaking away the jungle farm as well. And every single time that Kingsmen wants to step outside the base, they're going to have to be risk getting paused by JPL's ejector. If not, Ademir goes in the Falling Star, catches 1 or 2 members out. You can see, even with Jay trying to use the I-Fire to dodge, Potato comes in, the Tempest of Blade. It's just so tough to catch a single member of EVOS SG. But moving forward, I think EVOS SG will be looking to just methodically starve Kingsmen. I think Kingsmen now, they know they need to take a fight outside the base. They can't afford to just give all this space to EVOS SG because that means it's going to be a free lot. And eventually, EVOS SG will just hammer down their base, just chip down that turret bit by bit.
It does seem like the starvation is really what is holding Kingsmen back at this moment in time. 43,000 gold on the side of Kingsmen versus 53,000 gold on the side of EVOS. EVOS did manage to take themselves quite a lot of kills. They destroyed every single turret, and they are 10,000 gold in front. I wouldn't, honestly, with a huge deficit like this, and with so many turrets taken down, I'm kind of surprised that the lead is only 10,000.
Well, and on top of it, Potato just managed to pick up his immortality, so it's going to make it even harder to kill the lane.
He haven't even died yet.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Forza, he played a pretty decent tank this game as a Cho. He's managed to pick up Potato time and time again. They just didn't have for what needed to actually take down the lane. And in the process of trying to take the lane down, they've lost a lot of these huge team fights. And it's only because I think EVOS SG, like I said, the draft isn't really an easy draft to fight into. And I think Kingsmen, they kind of made one too many mistakes along the early game. But the game is not over yet. There is still ways for them to come back into the game. I think one of them will be trying to win a fight before EVOS SG can take this lot uncontested.
Now, most EVOS SG members, they are pretty. I would say that they're probably in the zone whereby they know that they can tank a lot. They're not too scared of being singled out. Like, you can pretty much see Ademir constantly pushing himself up to the top lane. He's got a lot of shields. Even if 5% there, very likely the 5% wouldn't just engage onto Meralda. But if Kingsmen just hold this out a little bit longer and just give EVOS the false illusion that Kingsmen themselves are under items, then that is probably a good time to fight back. And speaking of fighting back, it does seem like they are going to be, Kingsmen is going to be fighting back against EVOS SG, as we do have most of the members just going to be crashing upon onto the opponent's side. Chu is still trying to work on his very best on behind with the demonic force, but the frontline members from the side of Kingsmen is already trying to back themselves right back. It is going to be 4 versus 1. Chu is trying to do his absolute best. He does have a lot of shields, but it doesn't seem like he will be able to hold that out for very long. In fact, Ademir wasn't even necessary in that team fight after all. He is all the way in front, one man holding on to 3. This is where EVOS knows that they pretty much got the game game all by themselves. We do have Skyfall and Eye from the side of Jay. He's trying his best to really just clear out every single creep. That's kind of MLBB's job as well. So they do have a pretty good creep wave clear. So it is all about EVOS trying to kill the heroes themselves.
Oh well, I think JPL tried to use the ejector onto Forza there, but kind of missed. True gear, no, not really a big mistake there. It's not even a mistake, right? It's just really good positioning coming up from Kingsmen. But now, with two members on the side of Kingsmen still not yet up, I think EVOS actually is going to have pretty much a free uncontested lot. Look at Edward, look at how tanky he is. It's a 1v3. They even summon the Feathered Ash right. The Electro Final Blow comes in. They can't bring him down. He walks away unpunished. And EVOS SG, on top of that, they still walk away with an enlightened lot. This is a max lot. Past 18 minutes is a beast.
And that is the fight back that I was looking for.
Well,
but I guess I underestimated an Esmeralda after all. I'm looking at the fact that...
Well, I told you, right? You first pick a Phoebus, you don't ban away the Esmeralda. And
first pick Phoebus is kind of iffy for me. Well,
I think it's fine, but the fact that EVOS actually didn't pick the Esmeralda down to the second phase,
right.
Kingsmen could have just banned her out.
JPL, he's taking the front lines, but unfortunately he's not able to defend the Lord himself. But fortunately, I think that most of the creeps, okay, never mind. Top, middle, and bottom, the creep waves are all absolutely staggered. So what EVOS want to look for now is going to be killing every single one of the members from the side of Kingsmen, and that is exactly what they're going to be doing. Take a look at the amount of shield the enemy does have onto his feet. He really wants to absorb every single one of these shields from the side of Chu, but with all the kicks and the punches coming in from the side of Gear, he's trying to relocate Chu, but they are just all over the place. Forza is still okay. Half HP in. Kingsmen, they're just putting all of their work, all of their abilities right onto the Mega Creep, clearing all of the waves out, staggering it out. And EVOS can't find a way to clear and finish the game because they can't overextend themselves. They know, for a matter of fact, that Kingsmen, they are not under-optimized in terms of items. They gotta show some respect. And I'm rather surprised that EVOS have that much of a respect at this moment in time because they had such a great start.
Wow, it's all about ending the game without making mistakes, and EVOS actually, you can sense they kind of hesitant to go in for the final blow, but you still have to give a bit of credit to Kingsmen that they helped their fort. They made sure that EVOS actually couldn't push into the base, and obviously with the help of Jay playing on this Vendetta, he's been cutting the waves time and time again, trying to make sure that none of these creeps, leaves the base cracked wide open. Now Kingsmen starting to take a small little baby steps, like how they did previously, trying to push out the waves, trying to regain a little bit more of this map control, but EVOS actually not budging one single bit. Forza once again doing a fantastic job at scouting out all these bushes, making sure that his team is clear to move forward so that JPL doesn't catch them off guard.
I would really want to keep my eyes on to Potato as well as Ademir. Very likely they are the ones that will make the kill. They are the ones that will set the team fight up. But it does seem like they did manage to bring Forza's HP all the way down to a critical amount of health. Half HP actually. While we do have Potato, Tempest of Blaze. He's trying to get himself right out of the team fight. But unfortunately, it does seem like Otia Bambi with all of the Thorn Rose. Brought Potato down, and Thug's just gonna be proccing every single one of that immortality. He gets himself right off, but Ademir is gonna be the next one that we should be expecting him to get a kill. Almost getting Odia Baby, but unfortunately, he's just gonna be getting himself Phantom Execution right back into the fountain. But Ademir, he's still up, he's still running, but with the amount of mana left, he can't exactly work his way into dealing more damage. But all in all, it is 2 men down for the side of Kingsmen, but it is not over just yet, ladies and gents. It is going to be Ademir still in front of the enemy's lines with Jay popping off the Electro Final Blow, distracting everyone from the side of EVOS, ensuring that they won't be right on the tails of Ademir. And that is going to be separating the entire team fight from the side of EVOS, JPL, Sailor, with Ademir.
Well, EVOS FG has to be really careful here. If they lose too many members, Kingsmen can even look to end the game immediately. So EVOS actually recognizing the fact Ademir running no mana, but he's trying to shred Jay as much as possible. Gear gonna help with the heavy knockup, and True coming out on the side as well. Well, Chu did manage to get a pick off onto Potato in the earlier chase, and because of that, he doesn't have immortality for the next 2 minutes. This is a big window of space that Kingsmen can use to try to turn the fight into an advantage for them, but they also lost the immortality charge from Odia Baby, so both carries and both cores on both sides are going to be very vulnerable. They're looking to try to keep them alive, and Kingsmen once again have to take another tough fight in EVOS SG space. Wow, the Lord has just respawned. Oh, change of items as well. Potato picked up the Wind Talker, so I think they're going for a little bit more damage this time around. He saw the immortality, no use having a useless defense item. He's switching up his defense. He's going for a Tina Shoe. I think he's recognized the damage coming off the fields. He wants a little bit more sustain. And Kingsmen, how are they going to approach the Lord's pit?
There's a Lord down. Will be soloed down by Gear. Kingsmen knows for a very fact that they are trying for that. Jay is holding up the northern side, while Forza is holding up the southern side. He does have a good idea as to what's going on. They really want to get close, but they can't.
Look at the bot lane! Look at Potato! He might just try for the back door!
It might be the case, but it does seem like Odia Bambi as well as Azura X will get their way in here. So this is going to be a 2-for-1 trade. They are they're pushing 1% to the bottom lane for the side of EVOS, while Kingsman is pushing 2% to the side of the bottom lane. And this is going to be opening up a lot of opportunities for the side of both Kingsman as well as EVOS. Just go straight for the fight. The Lord is just going to be taken down by the side of Link, going on through the heavy artillery from the side of Azura X. Unfortunately, it's just going to be abrupted down by JPL and Amir following through. Most of the members for the side of Kingsman is just going to be down to a low amount of HP, but EVOS SG, they don't really want to go for an enhanced fight because they know that they already gotten the Lord. They don't have to push for it. They don't really have to go for it. They just have to wait out until the Lord marches down the middle lane, stagger things out for a little bit, and ensure that top, mid, and bottom marches together. But I don't think that it is going to be that easy.
Well, we did ask for an exciting game, and this is only the first game. The very first day, the very first matchup of the MPL Season 2, and this is what we asked for, and this is what the teams are delivering. EVOS SG now trying to end the game through the mid. They still don't have the Lunox alongside that. Chu trying his best with the Demonic Force to stretch the HP of members of EVOS SG. And I think EVOS SG, they get the hint. They're most likely just going to back off because this is going to be a tough fight without their bursty mage.
The Lord taken down before you can even touch anyone at this moment in time, but it does seem like when we are talking about touching, enemy has been touched ferociously from the side of Kingsmen. They're just trying to push every single one of these frontliners away. But where's the backliners? Where are all the artillery barrage? Where's all the damage coming up from? It does seem like it is going to be Potato, but he's just a little bit too, well, busy down in the opponent's orange buff.
Yep, and with the 2-minute countdown off cooldown, Potato's gonna sell away Athena. She's swapping once again into the immortality. Odia Baby
refreshing
going to be doing the same thing as well, picking up the immortality. So immortality charges available now on both cores. We're starting to see a little bit more of the itemizations coming up from both sides. Some of them going for a little bit more sustain. We're starting to see these fights stretch out even longer and longer. And tense, EVOS actually, like I said, yes, they are still in the lead because of the super minion waves, but they cannot afford to lose too many members at one shot. JPL now walking into dangerous territory, gets the toss.
And it doesn't seem like things are working out well for EVOS. They immediately expanded the flicker, and that is a good flicker, by the way, as Azura even pops down onto the feathered asteroid. No one is there that can abrupt him to just stop him at the point in time, but Gear almost getting cuffed by Forza. Almost!
Slightly, but good escape route. Forza trying his hard, and he didn't expand his flicker, so this is going to be an exciting next fight. Meanwhile, top lane once again, it is going to be the Benedetta against the Esmeralda as they both try to push their lanes out. Adivir obviously, like you said, being a little bit more needed in the team fight just to deal with the Phobias. Well, Kingsmen, they really want to make sure that this lot... It feels like deja vu all over again. This is the 4th, 5th time that we're seeing this.
First game of the season.
Well, we asked for it.
First game for the season. I mean, this is tough for the side of both EVOS and Kingsmen. You may look at the scoreboard. 6-25.
Okay.
What is EVOS doing? Let me tell you this. EVOS is trying their very best to end the game without being too complacent. They are trying to rely onto the Lord, but Kingsmen do have some great creep clear potential. They've got some nice bursts onto the side of Lord as well. So whenever the Lord just marches down to the middle lane, it's just going to be taken down unless EVOS decides to use their own heroes as the meat shield first. But it is, of course, gonna be rather risky to do that.
I mean, if you look at all these engagements, a lot of the fight, Esmeralda is pretty much the one that's shredding away the HP for Kingsmen. But he also has a very important role in making sure that the split push is coming up from via either the top or the bot lane, so that they can pull one member away from Kingsmen. And most of the time, this has been the Benedetta doing the job. So I think what EVOS actually are mostly trying to do is make sure that they consistently put themselves in advantage by pulling the Benedetta away to fight. Hopefully, the Esmeralda, they can rejoin the team fight and they can have like a 5v4 advantage, man advantage in that case. And EVOS actually, once again, going to be split pushing on both ends. JPL and Forza, they see one another. They're not going to commit to a fight. Both teams kind of separated away from their tanks. Forza trying to scout out as much as possible. He does spot the link out. Kingsmen, they have more waves to clear before they can take the next fight.
Well, we have come to the point, ladies and gentlemen, where the Little Wanderer is tankier than JPL himself.
Well, and Wise Man wants it. It do be like that. Now EVOS SG, Ademir. Gonna be clearing on the bot wave. We got Paquito clearing up the top. I think EVOS SG is trying to switch things up. Same goes for Kingsmen. Gonna put Chu closer onto Forza. The formation seems a little bit clearer now. They want to get the gank, and Ademir, what are you doing? He is in a really tough spot, but he did make the bait on the way of the dragon. They lose Ademir in the split of the second, and now Azura X gonna fly away by wings, and now Potato in the middle of that fight, dropping to half HP. Chu just sticking on top of him just like a glue. Stella dropping really low as well. Jay is gonna be doing the same. Meanwhile, Forza going to be making sure that Gear stays away from the rest of the team fight. Chu taking as much HP away from Stella as much as possible. All of the brilliance has been popped, but Forza is sticking right on top of her. Chu comes in to smash into the fence. The Ludok goes down. Here, going to be used the knockout punch to move into the Lord Spin and quickly get out of the way of the trouble. Oh my goodness, EVOS actually already lost 2 members, and now Kingsmen can look to try to win this game.
Forza just trying to go for the next one, initiating with the HP all the way down to a sliver of health by Azura X, popping right down with this feathered airstrike, believing in that. Here is gonna go down for that fight. 3 men from the side of EVOS is now taken down. It's just gonna be left with JPL as well as Potato left alive from the side of EVOS. They need to defend this Lord. But however, what can JPL do in this foreign matchup? 4 versus 1, while Potato is all the way in the opponent's purple buff. I don't think that anything else is going to be happening from here. Kingsmen, they are taking a little bit too long to try to capitalize onto this Lord. They are kind of intimidated from this JPL. It's either to go for the kill on the Lord or they go for the kill on the JPL, because the amount of kill time, or rather the respawn cooldown on the side of Gear and Sayla is a little bit too high. Maybe, just maybe they know the very fact that JPL have got great survivability at this moment in time. He can just run away very easily. In the meantime, Potato making full use of the time here, all the way up to north. Chu even follows up the Demonic Force. We know that Demonic Force is now unavailable. We know that now. So now Kingsmen, they are going to be in a little bit of a back foot if EVOS decides to strike back anytime now, because Sayla is respawning now. They can try to take one person out.
Well, that was 70 seconds. 70 of the most antagonizing seconds that EVOS actually had to live through, but they survived it all.
They didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah, all they had to do was just make sure, JPL's presence alone was more than enough to push Kingsmen off, taking away this Lord. And now we are back to square one. Kingsmen this time around having a little more control of the turtle speed. JPL sticking real close, making sure that he spots out members. I think he spotted out the Lancelot going in there, but it is sort of a bait for so now coming in. If they can pick JP off here, it is going to be a good pick off. The way of the dragon comes up. Oh, a good green unstoppable force actually stops the Cho's ultimate. And now KGM losing 2 of those huge CCs. This is a good window of time. EVOS actually are they going to start the Lord instantly. JPL going to recall immediately back to base. They get the toss onto Forza as well. But Forza using the Shimpo as well as the Chuno to get out of trouble. And meanwhile, top lane here also making sure that he scouts out Odia Bambi to try to steal this blue buff away from the Lancelot. But he will secure it with the Retribution. 30 seconds without Retribution. And these 2 teams, neither of them are willing to give way to one another.
No way. You wouldn't want to give way to anyone.
1 hour, let's go.
1 hour, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Kingsmen versus EVOS, the battle of the legends. Who is going to get themselves the first game? To be very fair, this is just the first game. So
okay. We really cool down. We hyped ourselves too much. Alright, now EVOS actually, once again, They managed to get the control back. They're trying to split push with different heroes this time around. Link onto the top side. Kingsmen sticking to what works best for their Benedetta pushing on top lane. I think the key thing that EVOS actually can try to do, perhaps, is try to get a pick off onto MLBB, but he's playing so safe behind his own team's lines, and they're constantly having Forza scout this out. Meanwhile, Admiral choosing to go into Falling Star Moon. I don't think they will be able to achieve much out of anything. Both teams, neither side really want to come into the fight, but Benedetta going in, doesn't have the immortality charge, will take a couple of damage, back to half HP, but he's Dante, he's just going to go back to heal all the HP up.
At this moment in time, we don't even need to talk about the amount of kills. We don't need to talk about net worth. Because everyone...
100k net worth of both teams.
Both members from Kingsmen and EVOS, they are more likely to have a full item. And even if they don't have boots, it is still going to be full item. They can buy everything that they want. Take a look at this, right? Jay doesn't even have boots. And that is the power of that's the power of Benedetta right there. You don't even need boots to do anything at this point in time. You just kind of get yourself right here, get yourself right there. He's actually focusing a lot on defense instead of offense. So honestly, you know, I may have a little bit of reservation with that part. Maybe if Benedetta went for a little bit more offense on his part, maybe throw away the Dominance Eyes for a Blade of Despair, I think that he will be able to deal a decent amount of damage on the Potato and just shut him down pretty darn easily. But of course, there are risks involved because he only got 3 kills. So his Festival of Blood is not as effective as how we would expect it to be.
Well, like I said, Kingsmen, they don't really have to take too much of a risk here. All they have to do is constantly put pressure on EVOS SG. Every single time they want to go for the Lord, Forza goes in, he puts the threat there, this time rolling on top side. They manage to spot 2 heroes of Kingsmen on the top lane. This is going to open the map up for them. Admiral once again dancing with them, but he will get punished this time round. JPL goes in for the toss. Toe coming in really fast. And the Demonic Force lands right on top of JPL.
It doesn't seem like things are going to be working out well for Potato because it does seem like Immortality that's going to be popped. Beach Boy gets himself right out of there. Two with the Demonic Force almost landing the final hit down on the side of Potato. He's going to be staying out alive for now. Gear following through, flickers right into the opponent's base, almost getting the side of Lancelot. But unfortunately, it is going to be like that for now. The Lord is going to be left uncontested. JPL and Gear just going to be moving up north from the opponent's base, and thus just going to be come in and cast in between by Forza. So without a doubt, that is going
not like that.
JPL
has been slain.
KGM, they have weathered the storm. 36 minutes into the game, 60 seconds without JPL, 35 seconds without AW. Can they make the most out of this kickoff? But it doesn't seem like they want to take the risk. They're just trying to hang it on, trying to irk EVOS SG, making sure that EVOS SG is so frustrated they will make more of these mistakes. But now, it looks like they're gearing up for this lot. 15 more seconds before Admiral responds. Potato trying his best to split push. Jay, on the other hand, doing the same. Potato onto the top side, but he can't clear the lane as fast as possible. And for the first time, Kingsman is going to take the lot, or can they? Potato's now lingering onto the side. He's lingering onto the side lane as well. Sela going to spot out. They summon the Feathered Airstrike here coming in. Can they get the steal? The knockup onto MLBB. He's dropping really low as well. The Lord is doing the kill, but they finally pick up the Lancelot. Azura is going to drop the kill onto Potato as well. Now onto backline Chu, still surviving with a nick. And here comes Anima to his team's rescue. Can they pick Jay off? They are getting very, very low, but they're hanging on the thread. Chu goes down, and Animal says, no way you win this game. Forza trying his best to clear them out as well. Animal comes back into the fight. He does have mana, and now Gear does have the immortality charge. They break it. It's going to be an easy kill onto Azura x JPL now, trying to end the game. Forza is going to be all by his own. How much can this guy do by himself?
I don't know, man, but one thing's for sure, they don't need to care about the Lord at all because the top lane is currently pushed in. What can Forza do by himself? As we've got, they even, JPL even
get him!
Flip the ballista right into the enemy's base. It's just focusing down over and over again, but Gear,
they can't end the game!
It does seem like the immortality has been popped right there. They're trying to go for the kill on the Forza as well. He's doing his absolute best to try to bring down every single one of the ballista minions, every single minion he wants to do. But unfortunately, top lane is cleared, bottom lane is not, and they're all just gonna be hammering down Forza, the last man alive. Every single one of the members from the side of Kingsmen has been taken down.
Victory.
too much damage from the Loi if you stay away, because then they can look to try to take turrets. If you go in, there's that Ruby that has the stuns. You have JPL that can single someone out, and then you got obviously the Fevers that can just slam down with. It's so tough to drive up against this particular roster, but I think for Kingsmen, what they have here is a lot of burst damage. They already have a fighter. They need someone that can provide a little bit of crowd control, and Tigreal suits the bill.
Tigreal is definitely the other tank that we can be looking at. And in fact, you know, playing a couple of ranked games together with Aris made us realize that the Tigreal is really one heck of an annoying tank. One heck of an annoying tank, trust me.
Absolutely. The charge is going to be something that I think Kingsmen might want to utilize to disrupt the jungle farm of the Hayabusa. And not only that, I think this is where we're going to see a bit of another tank fight. A lot of focus is going to be a tank fight in game 2. It's all over again.
I'm kind of at a loss of words, but EVOS lineup looking pretty darn scary as we head on down to the Land of Dawn. As we take a look at every single sponsor out there, of course, we're going to have to thank all of the sponsors for coming right in. But for now, just going to be focusing down onto MPL Season 1 regular season. Day number 1, game number 2 between EVOS versus Kingsmen. Or match number 2 actually. Game number 1, match number 2.
Of Season 2.
Season 2. There's so many numbers here and there being thrown right out. But for now, let us go straight for the introduction with Forza. Just going to be rushing right into the opponent's line and trying to work a bit onto this kind of vertical jungling, trying to steal the opponent's buff. But for now, let us talk about the laning composition. With Azura Axe playing onto the Lunox, just going to be holding out the waves, not pushing too far in. Fighting against the Furbians up in the top lane. In the middle lane, we're going to be looking at JPL playing onto the Jawhead together with Sayla onto that Loi. Fighting against with a Tigreal as well as Jay, played by Forza and Jay respectively. And following down onto the bottom lane, it is going to be a Ruby played by Adamir fighting against a Lapu Lapu that you will be rocking on. And finally, the junglers themselves with Potato onto Hayabusa and Odia Bambi onto the Roger.
Yeah, I can see the impact of the Abyssal Arrow followed into the Abyssal Trap. A lot of damage already done to JPL, but it's going to be fine. Meanwhile, top lane, a bit of interesting matchup with Lunox and Phobias, because I think this is pretty much going to be a drawn lane. You already saw how the manipulator, but you could see a very early first blood coming. Jay nearly managed to escape. Chu will survive. Not only that, he will pick up the first blood on to the Jawhead.
Potato's currently going to be the next one in line in the hit list. And it does seem like Potato will go straight down almost immediately. Odia Baby trying to extend his lead even further by just jumping right into the first tier turret and just sniping Adamir right under the turret's nose and allowing him to get himself a total of 2 kills already. So a really great start for the side of Kingsmen. And even with, I mean, let's be real. Their aggression in the early games is pretty darn scary. But EVOS definitely have got some scary firepower when it comes to team fights.
Yeah, Kingsmen, the drive is just surrounded around ganking, right? You have this Lunox, you have Odia Baby who's playing, and once again, look at that. I was just about to talk about the Selena. Easy pickoff, easy follow-up from the Abyssal Arrow, and now it's going to be pretty much a free turtle unless Adimo can pull something out of his bag of tricks.
Doesn't seem like he will be able to do things fast enough. He doesn't really quite have the retribution as well, so he's just gonna be chilling around inside of the brushes. But in the meantime, top lane, Jay, liver of health, almost going straight down, but Potato says no. He manages to go right in, and with a couple of shurikens, is able to bring Jay back into base, while the vertical jungling is definitely going to be very apparent right over here, and Vladimir just goes straight in for the death side, immediately pulling 3 right under his nose and doing quite a decent amount of damage. But unfortunately, Forza and Odia Bambi, they almost went down because of the passive stacks coming in between, but JPL manages to... Oh no!
Up into the sky and back into the base.
And man, oh man, that is Odia Bambi completely being grounded by JPL. Definitely did not expect that coming, especially after going in for like a bounce, thinking that he will be able to do for the damage. But you know, It does seem
Well,
like the animation of the tossing was a little bit better.
That's why you pick the low E, right? You kind of force your opponents to not group up, and
Yeah, that really punishes them. They
Yeah.
didn't even quite realize.
the Roger and the Tigre kind of
they
just
just kind of swoop, swoop. A little bit of a vacuum cleaner. Well, it's more of a vacuum, and the cleaner is the one that is JPL because it kind of cleaned the vacuum.
I like the analogy, but well, talking about analogy, talking about the vacuum forcer getting a good two-man suck into the implosion, but here comes EVOS actually looking for revenge. The Abyssal Arrow does land, doesn't really manage to accomplish much with the Shadow Kill, and well, EVOS actually unfortunately will not be able to take revenge for Adamir as he once again falls to the top lane. They're gonna switch lanes over here. Furious now going on to the bot, just because it's so much tougher for him to break on top side. Now JPL might have just overstayed his welcome. KGM, Kingsmen on this head, putting a lot of focus on top lane. The Abyssal Arrow nearly hitting the Hayabusa there.
The game is definitely a lot more balanced and a lot more neck and neck as compared to the previous game, because we're looking at 5 minutes into the game. Kingsmen have got a total of 5 kills, EVOS a total of 4 kills, but look at Forza rushing right in. He did manage to get himself a really nice little charge in, but unfortunately wasn't able to do quite much from that point in time, as X manages to find himself quite a couple of kills. Oh, happy on the side of Sailor, but JPL is not going to be saying no just yet. He did manage to go straight in for the unstoppable force on the Chew. He was hoping he would be able to do a little bit more, but here, coming in at the last second, demonic force right in the face onto the side of Forza, bring him down. JPL, he's still trying to go for more gear. Ooh, boy, oh boy, almost bring everyone down. Most of the members from the side of Kingsmen, they were just down to a sliver of health, and him coming in definitely made every single one of Kingsmen members flee.
Yeah, this is something that Chu has to be really careful about. Playing on this Lapu Lapu, yes, he does have an early game, but we saw the threat of Phobius jumping onto him using the Demonic Force whenever he uses a skill when he's on the previous warrior mode. So he does have to be slightly wary of that, especially in team fights. Meanwhile, bot lane, we do see Potato getting a slight gang onto the Lapu Lapu. He is a big boy, a tanky boy in fact. And I don't think they will have too much of a threat. I think Potato is just going to go there, use the Shadow Q for a bit of an extra go far.
All of the turrets seems to be looking really a-okay. Bottom lane's first tier turret is all the way down to 50%, or rather lower than 50%. Top lane turret is pretty much a-okay as well. Kingsmen didn't really quite focus a lot on the objectives, while EVOS is the one that focuses a little bit more. Kingsmen just wants to go for the kills. As you can pretty much see from here, they want to set things up. Jay tries to go for the Abyssal Arrow, did not quite land the side of Adamir, but he did manage to pull Chew right under Tara's nose. But Chew is not gonna be saying no just yet. JPL unfortunately just gets absolutely sniped right down by Jay.
Oh.
And that is an Abyssal Arrow that just seemingly landed on the side of Potato without they even realizing that it would happen. So EVOS forced things out a little bit more, and Adamir not exactly the right play. You kind of force things on the Chew, especially when you know that Forza was behind you. It's kind of like a 2v2 that you are playing under a turret. You should have expected someone still around. And that is Jay.
Yeah, I think delaying is the name of the game here. Total going to be secured by Kingsman. The Oracle coming up from Chu just to add a little bit more sustain once he gets more of those Festival of Blood stacks in. Meanwhile, Forza just scouting out the bot lane. He's going to try to choke this lane up so that Kingsman can secure the tier 1 onto the bottom side. Kingsman definitely doing a lot better at objective taking this time around as compared to game 1. Well, for EVOS actually, they're just going to try to delay the game, try to get Potato as much farm as he can. And like you said, team fight is going to be the modus operators that EVOS actually wants to operate on. Meanwhile, for Kingsmen, it's all about the ganks, all about the fast-paced game because of the hero spikes that they have at this point in match 2.
Ooh, just shaving by the hair. JPL almost ate that Abyssal Arrow, and if that actually happens, that would be him biting the dust. But speaking of biting the dust, it does seem like he might be seeing that real soon. As JPL, he actually used the Unstoppable Force to get himself closer onto the side of Jay, trying to evade Forza's ultimate. So it's kind of like ulti for an ulti, but all in all, Kingsmen, they managed to bring JPL down, and that is going to be very important for them. And they would want to engage in a little bit more fight. Take a look at the massive amount of magical damage that's just going to be dealt on Chu. Jay and Chu force themselves together, converges together because of the fact that there is a Law Yi after all. So they really gotta have to be really careful regarding what kind of stacks is going on within their teammates and themselves, just so that they don't accidentally find themselves initiating onto themselves.
EVOS should not be able to find a clean fight, but can they get the clean gag? Yes, they might be able to get the Shadow Q comes in. Oh, their baby surviving, but just a bit. Lala doesn't manage to get the Yin Yang right onto the Roger, and he will escape scot-free. Meanwhile, it is time for EVOS actually to be crawling away without a kill, as the arrival of Chu and Forza will chase them away, and they're like, shoo, don't touch my Roger.
I'm glad that Odia Bambi did not go down there. 3-1-5, and it just picked up an endless battle. So I'm pretty sure that we'll be looking at quite a bit of, okay, never mind, endless battle picking up from the side of Potato as well. So aggression from both EVOS and Kingsmen should be skyrocketing down from this point onwards. And tankability, maybe not quite there just yet. So it is all about who melts whom first at this moment in time.
Obviously, Roger being that early game marksman, he wants to try to get as much momentum under his knee. He's got the killing spree, and now once again, Gear in a bit of a tough spot, but look at that, the demonic force keeping him alive for so long. Unfortunately, EVOS actually wasn't able to rotate fast enough. It's going to be another pickup for Kingsmen, and well, they are definitely making use of this Selena as much as possible. And as long as Jay can find someone with the Abyssal Arrow and they can collapse right onto that person, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. You look at that, they're not too lacking in CC as well, if you think about it, right? They got force out of this Tyrael, he can push someone back with charge, he can follow up explosion. If EVOS actually commit too far and the Law is not able to follow up, they don't really have too much against their draft, which is why I said EVOS actually, as scary as their draft is, if Kingsmen can get enough momentum with this early game heroes, they can try to end this game as fast as possible, even before Potato takes off on this higher booster.
As now the Lord tramples down into the bottom lane, slowly making his way, fighting for the needs of Kingsmen. Kingsmen themselves have to make a decision. Do they want to support the Lord down in the bottom lane, or do they just want to focus on killing players? And it does seem like they have got their choice. They want to go for the kill on Gear, but unfortunately the demonic force is just keeping him alive, and in fact turning the table right on top of Jay, and he's just being chased down by Gear. This is why you never let Furbius run through. This is why you will not use any form of mobility skills onto Gear. But now that they know that he does not have demonic force anymore, they can bring him down once and for all.
Yeah.
Kingsmen, they're continuing down to middle lane.
Yeah, a bit of a noble sacrifice over there from Gear. He did manage to pick up the Selena, so no pesky assassin. Meanwhile, they also took down the Lord, but Forza here trying to make the best case scenario. Adamir tried to flicker away, but unfortunately couldn't flicker out of the clutches of Chu's double great sword.
Kingsmen, they have got the map control. Bottom lane, two turrets down. Middle lane, 2 turrets down. I'm pretty sure that the top lane's 2 turret is gonna go down real soon as well. There we go. Speaking of the devil, that is going to be 3 turrets down already. Oh, sorry, 2 turrets down from each lane, and it's going to be left with the base within itself. JPL picking himself with a Twilight armor, and that is definitely going to help him staying alive against Azura X with that massive amount of magical damage outburst and just constantly just stacking up onto the magical damage. So I believe that Gear should be going for the same item next thing in mind, but all in all, 70-14, we're looking at an 8,000 gold lead that Kingsmen have. I'm pretty sure that the game is not over just yet because, well, it is not over in the fact the lady sings.
Kingsmen heroes pretty much picking as much as they can at this point in time. Like I said, they clear out the outer turrets, which is a really good control that they have over EVOS SG's jungle, but EVOS SG is still hoping for a gank. They're trying to find someone that might just walk into that brush, but Kingsmen not really biting their bait. They just want to keep control of the jungle, and as the Lord, or rather the Turtle, will come out in 70 seconds, they might just get caught out here. Forza gets poked by the big bad. Oof! Is the Yin Yang overturn enough? No, it's not. Not the Yin Yang with the Yin Yang combo. Forza now coming up here with the slash, and he comes right in. But then again, too much burst damage coming up from Kingsmen, they burst the Furious down despite him having the Demonic Force on his side. And now, without the Phobias, they don't really have a front line alongside JPL to do the DPS other than Ademir, who's really just there for the CC. He's not really going for tank damage. I think he might just soon go into even more defense.
As we do have Sylar immediately being bursted right down, but we can pretty much try to see that Sylar is trying his very best, putting on his second skill in the middle, just trying to work on some diversion damage. But Kingsmen, they did everything, they done the deed almost instantaneously. Sylar didn't even see the light of the day after putting down diversion. So Kingsmen, they were very decisive with who they want to focus on. But unfortunately, from that point onwards, they know that they can't do anything else more because gear is just coming up online. And now he's back up. All members from EVOS, they are now alive. And not to forget, the Lord is available for the picking too. Kingsmen, they've got the control. They have got the dominance. And they are just going to be trying their very best to flush every single one of the EVOS members out as they slowly make their way through to the southern side of Lord, with the Lord down to 50% HP. JPL does have a little bit of invisibility, but I don't think that is going to help him too much. All eyes onto Forza. He should be the one that engages the fight.
Yeah, they have the diversion if they need to. So Rosella set up a gank here. Kingsman kind of baiting EVOS into the fight. They're like, do they really want to contest for this lot? Potato still not nearby. The knockup doesn't land on anyone. Ademir spots out Forza onto the top brush. Oh, the Invisible comes in as well. JPL looking for an entry point.
It doesn't seem like it pretty much landed on gear though. They did manage to land on JPL, but he's just going to be expanding his flicker, and they'll take a look at Ademir, trying to go in straight for the hook, but the flame shot flickers right in, captures 4, but all of the fight is just going to be going all absolutely haywire to going 1v1 against gear, but I don't think that the fight is going to go anywhere just yet. So we're going to be focusing our eyes on the side of Ademir because he's trying to tank up against Odiababi, but Sylar, he manages to stun Odiababi right down to the ground, but unfortunately he still went down. Ademir with 39 seconds onto his head, Odiababi went straight for the kill and ensured that Ruby is dead for real. But unfortunately, that fight was so out of the way. The fight was split up all the way despite Forza trying to land on a 4-man out. From that point on, everyone exploded and Kingsmen lost 3 members while EVOS only lost 2.
Yeah, good reaction coming up from Gears. You're using the flame shot to push Forza backwards, and that's why he couldn't land the implosion. And on top of it all, while Kingsman was constantly delaying the fight, they did manage to secure a tier 3 turret onto the top side, so that is still a mini win. And let's take a look at replay to see what happened. Initially, Kingsman was kind of in the winning. You can see Forza try to go in for the flicker, they get hooked, and then the flame shot pushes him towards the backwards, followed by the dispersion, sucks him right into the fight, and now the fight is broken up to 2. Hayabusa now using the Shadow Q to take out 2 members there, but Odiababi with the killing spree, staying healthy, takes down Ademir, and just constantly just berates onto the backline.
And the Lord is going to be the next one in the picking. I believe that Kingsman will want to go for this no matter what, right? So JPL is just going to be hovering around, ensuring that he's got a control, he's got the eye onto the Lord. Ademir is doing a good bunch as well, but unfortunately he's just going to be eating up the Abyssal Arrow. Everyone's just going to be crashing, collapsing around top of him. But Ademir is not going to be going down just about yet. Here he's just trying to focus himself onto the backlines, but meanwhile in the front line though, we do have Jude that's going to be doing all of his might down. But here, a final demonic force crashes down on top of him, and this Lapu Lapu will not be able to see the light of the next day. As we do have Jay and Ju taken right down. They almost managed to find another member on the side of Forza, but it's just going to be casually walking away. And the Lord is very likely going to be given the side of Eve.
Yeah, the Astoros are coming out from gear. A little bit of instinct as to where Forza might be, nearly caught it there. Odiababi also escaping with a little bit of luck and timing, but now Azura actually a little bit of trouble. The Unstoppable Force, they toss the Ludox in, drop the HP, but Kingsman, they have managed to successfully reset the Lord, but Forza is probably going to pay a life for it. Well, he's burned away his immortality, but I don't see any way they can get out. The flame shot pushes him backwards into the Demonic Force, and now members of EVOS SG is going to go back, heal up, and clear away the waves that are crushing down onto the base as they look to secure the Lord for a good measure.
It's going to be a slow death onto the side of Kingsmen. A couple of fights did not work out for them. And at this point in time, they are unable to even control the Lord. Because EVOS, they are holding on to the ground. They are grasping the ground so hard to the point that they're gonna go straight in for two, instantaneously melted down right before the eyes of his fellow friends as Jay and Odia Babby stood in by the side to watch. Odia Babby tried to steal it, but unfortunately will not be able to steal. He popped the immortality. He was not able to steal the Lord. He did manage to bring down JPL though, but at what cost? 3 members down from the side of Kingsmen and 1 member down from EVOS. This is going to be a very decisive push right through to the middle lane, while EVOS's base is starting to see a little bit of a push down from the northern side as well.
Yeah, don't run Wolf King coming out from Admiral to stop Odia Baby from stealing away the Lord. The knockout from the Lord kind of gave EVOS actually a bit of a luck there as well. But, well, EVOS actually, they'll take whatever they can, and in this case, it's going to be the Enlightened Lord. Once again, a maximum time Lord. 19 minutes into the game, EVOS actually finally starting to hit the pick. The Hayabusa starting to come into play. They're starting to see the impact of trying to hold on to the game, and this is where things look really scary for Kingsmen.
This is really going to be the same as the previous game, because telltale signs shows that it's going to be the same, where Kingsmen is just going to do their absolute best to try to defend. Okay, you know what? Maybe things are going to be a little bit different, because Kingsmen, they don't have very good wave clear.
Yeah, they do have a lot of gank, but no, not tanky enough to soak up the damage coming out from this lawyer at JPL. Looking for a target. The Lord's being held onto the corner. The rotation will suck Forza in. He's gotta quickly go back to base to heal. But look at that. Adamant now going to assist Potatoes. He's already cleared up the tier 3 lane at the top. The Lord's gonna push down the mid as well as the bot.
Well, middle lane turret almost going straight down. Adamir is all alone with a hop, skip, and a jump. Almost being sniped right out by Chu, but it is gonna be A-OK as Ruby, the Red Riding Hood, and they just find. Oh, yeah, I just realized Red Riding Hood and the Wolf.
Did you not get the skill names of Ruby? Don't the big bad wolf. Don't
big bad wolf.
Don't run.
Babby after all.
Run Wolf King.
I mean, it's right there. It's right on the opponent's side.
How appropriate? How appropriate?
How appropriate. I guess this is the fight between Adamir and Odia Bambi.
It comes full circle. It comes full circle. But EVOS actually now looking to secure a little bit. 16 seconds without their core, and they do manage to catch up Furious down onto the bot lane. But the rotation will come in. Will the diversion be in time? No, it doesn't. And Kingsman will be able to find another gank. A painful minute without the Phobias, who's been contributing so much to this team fight. Can they make the most out of it?
Every team for themselves now. If Kingsmen make the right move, this is going to be a downed inhibitor turret at the middle lane. But it does not Azrayak. He's currently being caught in between. He's trying to go for Adamir, but his gun's going to be popping out of immortality. He's currently locked down in place, but luckily for him, Power of the Order Brilliance gets himself right out. And Kingsmen understands that they can't follow through. Even though Gear is dead, they tried. They really tried to jump right under the turret's nose and try to snipe Adamir out. But never did they realize that this Red Riding Hood is just a little bit too tanky for them to deal with.
Well, and on top of that, they did manage to burn Azure X Immortality. So that is still a mini win for EVOS actually.
Big win, yeah.
And more importantly, they also kept their tier 3 mid standing. So that is going to be a huge, I wouldn't say huge win, but it is a kind of like a major victory if you think about it.
It would have been a bigger win if they actually expanded the flicker as well.
Yeah, well,
but it's kind of like an overkill.
Like I said, you take what you can. You take what you can.
You know, just kind of like go out with the Power of the Order Brilliance. Oh, can I still get away? If I can't, then I got a flicker. You know, kind of like a backup upon a backup upon a backup. It's a backup city.
It was actually
back things up.
Starting to push out the base right now. Kingsman trying to set up a gang. Forza going to be in the front line. Okay, if he can get a Abyssal Arrow here, that could be the signal to try to dive in. But Forza's dragged a little bit too deep. JPL using the injector to push him to the back line, but this Tigger is too tanky. Can't really bring him in time. While EVOS actually also has to be wary about the top lane pushing in. So they're going to get the higher boost at the top side. Meanwhile, Kingsman still not committing to a lot fight just yet.
They'll have a nice stealth boots in order to get that quick burst of movement speed to get away. Kingsmen, they still have the control, right? down onto the 50 line. EVOS, they're still playing it things relatively safe, but they're just going to be going straight in for a 2 versus 2. But unfortunately, EVOS is just going to be pushing right onto the side of enemy here. Really nice hook, but unfortunately, he's just locked down right in the place. Everyone else just going to be eating the Hisashi shadow kill. Here, moving on with most of that demonic force. Moving up onto 4-star next. He's unable to find where Odia Bambi is, but they don't have to care about that because as long as they bring 4-star down, melt down the immortality, that is going to be a big win for them. But one of the problems is that they didn't get themselves the Lord. They managed to bring 3% down in a cost of 1, while the Lord is taken by the side of Kingsmen. If they're able to stop this Lord right here, right now, one thing that can happen is that, they stabilize the game and nothing is going to be happening for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, the diversion came in just a tad too late, but I don't think EVOS actually will bother too much because ultimately they managed to take down the Lord for free. And let's take a look at what happened. So I think it started out with a diversion, but by then, Kingsmen already managed to take the Lord, like you said. Good implosion to stun JPL out, but not enough burst damage at that point in time to take down this Ruby. And then the rest was just pretty much Loyi dispersing all around and Gear just creating havoc. The demonic force really nowhere to run. He's pretty much just going to burn his immortality and lose his life there. So a bit of a painful pinch for Kingsmen given that they started out the fight pretty well by taking the Lord for themselves.
This game, 35 minutes in.
Will we see a repeat? I don't know.
I would say yes, except for the fact that this game is a lot more neck and neck because Kingsmen, they did manage to bring down 1 inhibitor turret at the top lane of EVOS. So honestly, there is a bigger fighting chance in this game as compared to the previous one. In fact, I would say that the balance is tilted more towards in favor of Kingsmen rather than EVOS. It's just that EVOS is doing so well in team fights because that is what they are geared for.
Yeah, I think Kingsmen have done a pretty good job of getting the early game lead, and that's why they were able to take the Lord, get a little bit more map control. But I think it would be a lot easier for them if Jay was the one to start the fight by getting an Abyssal Arrow. A lot of these fights that Kingsmen are committing into is actually using Forza's Implosion to start the fight. Now, that isn't really get JPL to single anyone out of the ejector, throw him into the lowest skill, and then just burst him down. And there's really nothing much that Kingsmen can do because Kingsmen, if they really want to commit into a fight, you got Lapu Lapu, you got Roger, as well as Tigo, 3 heroes that to make full use of their potential, they need to be up close and personal, and that works in Loyi's favor.
A lot of intricacies on the side of Kingsmen's roster as compared to EVOS's straightforward engagement style, right? It's kind of like EVOS collapse onto Kingsmen. But Kingsmen have a lot more thinking that they need to do. And with the fact that they only have a single inhibitor turret left in the middle lane, they don't have a lot of leeway of flying around the map either, because they're gonna have to put up a decent amount of defense all across the board. If they go a little bit too far with great neglect onto the lanes, they may be expecting quite some split pushes from the side of EVOS. And that is definitely possible because of the fact that EVOS has Potato that is playing onto Hayabusa.
EVOS actually looking to get a little bit more control of the Lord's Pit. They want to push Kingsmen's away. Like I said, they're looking for team fights. They're not really looking, And they do spot the Hayabusa down bot lane. So Kingsmen, I think they're fancying their chances in this fight. Try to initiate a fight before the Hayabusa joins in. And you can see the Abyssal Arrows already starting to launch, but they do have the Lethal Spirit in EVOS Ash's favor, so that is sort of an added vision. If Azura X even taking a step outside of the bush, well, he's going to reveal himself by using all the Brilliant Charge, but nothing really much that EVOS Ash is going to do there. They can't really start the fight without the Hayabusa. I think it's more about maintaining the momentum as well as the pit. And you got to remember, EVOS Ash does have 2 super minion waves pushing down on the top as well as the bottom lane, whereas for Kingsmen, they only have the top side, so they kind of cancel out each other. So Kingsmen now will have to get the Roger there. If EVOS really wants to, I think now this is where they have to give up a little bit more space in the side of Kingsmen. So EVOS actually playing it safe, once again pulling Kingsmen members apart. And Hayabusa does have to be a bit wary because there are a lot of heroes on the side of Kingsmen that are missing. One wrong rotation and that could cost them the game. So they need to be very, very careful about how Potato wants to rotate back to his team.
It is that rotation that we are talking about that Kingsmen is betting on as well. They do have a lot of people that have decided to just kind of camp inside of the brushes down in the southern side of the map. As EVOS, they have taken a little bit too much control over the northern side. Because in fact,
well, they cleared all the bush.
Yeah, there is a lot. There was a little wanderer around the vicinity as well, so it kind of makes things tougher for Kingsmen to even stay inside of the brushes. But now that Lord is going to be picked off by EVOS, I'm not too sure whether Kingsman realizes that just yet. But it's kind of like a go and a take and a go. They don't want to fully commit into a Lord fight as EVOS, they're very careful. Kingsmen themselves are pretty darn careful as well. They're checking every brushes, making sure that they use a abyssal trap and a abyssal arrow in every brushes that they go to ensure that they don't get singled out in the most
unexpected way.
Yes.
I think this is an exact replica of the situation that both teams are finding themselves in as compared to game 1. Both of them really don't want to commit into a fight they're not confident of, because it's at the stage of the game where losing 1 or 2 heroes could mean the end of this particular game. And obviously for Kingsmen, that seems a little bit more desperate because EVOS are already 1 game up. So for EVOS actually, it's a lot clear cut. Let's just put Kingsmen constantly under all these waves of pressure, and they have to split up. And Kingsmen on the other side, you can see the strategy coming out. They're trying to get more control of the red buff jungle. When Hayabusa goes in for the red buff, they might be able to get a pick off, and then that's where they can go in for a fight knowing that there is no Hayabusa in the next team fight.
So if we kind of break the game into small little bits and pieces, most of the time we've got some splits in between of top lane and bottom lane just so that they can juggle the lanes and try to push out even more. They want to focus down on the middle even more, and thus Kingsmen, they have to expend quite amount of players down to the bottom. So the best time to go and settle for a fight is when their own lanes has passed the 50 mark. That is if EVOS wants to go for the fight, because that will be the timing where Kingsmen will have to deploy 1 person down to the bottom lane to make it into a 4 versus 5 fight in favor for EVOS.
Yeah, just to summarize, is basically EVOS trying to split up lanes, making sure that Kingsmen can't stay in the fight because they have to send someone to clear. Kingsmen on the other hand trying to catch Hayabusa off when he's trying to do that. So I think this game is slightly more strategical as compared to game 1 because they have a lot more bursty comps on both sides. So it's a lot more perilous for both teams because of the speed and the pacing that the heroes can put out, as compared to game 1 where it's a very long drawn out fight. It's an Esmeralda against a Fabius. So I think this is why these 2 teams are more wary of going to fight. You can look at that, look at the space between all these sides. JPL is
They want to run for this now.
Yeah, they're so far away. He's trying to get a kill, but Kingsmen, all they have to do is just play the safety card. They put Chu as the pseudo tank in the front line, while Tigro is looking for a pick-up on this Haya because he does have the charge as well as the implosion.
Whenever EVOS finds Odia Bambi on another lane farming or rather pushing and defending, that is where JPL will spring into action whenever he sees another person around his vicinity. In fact, Odia Bambi has already shown himself. If he's going to show himself even right here, that is where someone is just going to initiate for a fight. Adamir not going to be moving on to Chu though. They're not very confident regarding the movements and the idea as to where Kingsman is going. So I think that there's a lot more thinking going on in the side of EVOS. They're not just basing it off of the fact that, hey, Kingsman's Odia Bambi is at the other lane. Let's take a fight now. They are thinking of a lot more. I'm a lot more dense, man.
Oh, but JPL now in a very good position. They managed to reveal the conceal coming up from Kingsman. Will they commit onto Farsa? He doesn't really have the immortality charge there. JPL not really wanting to use the flicker. And it's back to square one for the side of EVOS. Ashley just using the Hayabusa to clear bot lane, but now Selena will try to use the Abyssal Arrow to get the hit onto Haya, but she's just gonna escape the Quad Shadows. Nothing much that Kingsman can do.
Okay, someone kill someone. Now, someone kill someone!
Another scouting tool that EVOS actually also has in its favor is the diversion coming from Law E. They can use it to check a brush that they're not confident of. So that is also something that EVOS actually is constantly doing. You saw, the AoE on the minimap when Law E is kind of using that skill just to check whether or not there could be a possible gank on that bush. So like I said, it's easier said than done. But Kingsman, Once again, backs push against the wall. JPL here going to try to cut away the mid wave to put Kingsmen into a further corner than they are already in. EVOS SG, they're more than happy to play along top wave now, starting to push in. If they want to make a play now, I think this is the moment.
Nope, they're not going to do it.
Jay putting himself in a very good position, but I don't think he can solo queue a higher at this point in the game.
He can't. In fact, I think that at this point in time, that is where Selena has started to scale off of the charts already. You don't really have that massive amount of burst damage into anyone right now. You're more on utility.
Yeah, like the stun is still a huge attribute that Kingsman can put to use, but she's no longer that bursty assassin that can go in, burst someone down on her own, and then get out. So it's all about, you know, playing that waiting game, waiting for the right time. And these two teams, that's why they're one of the best, right? They're two of them, of the favorites, one being a defending champion and one looking to prove that they are worth, and that, you know, last season was kind of like a fluke. So it sets a big tone. Two titans going head to head with one another.
Yeah, honestly, they know that their pride is in the line.
That's history between the two teams as well.
Exactly. So I'm just very curious as to what is going to be the objective of their game in here, right? What's the caveat?
Well, to win.
The caveat it is, right? Like, what is standing in between of them and the goal? Like, not just because of like, oh, because EVOS is in the way or Kingsman is in the way, but what is really stopping them from the fight? We talked about Loi being one of the key reasons why Kingsman can't move up onto EVOS. But on the other hand, why is it that EVOS can't move up onto Kingsmen?
Well, like I said, I think it's at a stage of the game where both teams don't really want to make a mistake, which is why I draw reference a lot to game one.
It's kind of like an unknown mystery for EVOS. They can only make hypothetical decisions as to, okay, if we do this, something's going to happen to us, and we don't want to test that.
Well, a lot of the gameplay that you're seeing now coming from EVOS actually is just ensuring that the Loi is not in danger. They need the Loi in a lot of these team fights to set up the ganks, to set up the CCs, and make sure that they group up so that the Ruby and Favors can do what they do best.
Right, right.
And I think that's where things get a little bit tricky, because they need to clear out a lot of these bushes that Kingsmen are playing. And Kingsmen, you still have to give a lot of respect to Forza on Tigreal as well as Lapu Lapu. They are two very tanky heroes that are not easily taken down unless you really commit into a fight. And commitment means you put yourself at risk of getting taken out, because there is still Roger on the other side that can quickly take down a Loi if she's not too careful and not protected by her teammate. So that's why I think that's that tango that these two teams are kind of like playing with each other and just dancing around. Well, it is a very, very long game. I know you guys at home, thank you so much for being very, very patient with us. And here we go. We are about to begin once again. Let's see who will be able to get game 2. Will it be EVOS actually that cleans out the series, or is it going to be Kingsmen to prove that they are not going home without a fight?
It does seem like a fight is what Kingsman is looking out for. In fact, they are very aggressive on the side of Forza. They just pushed Endermere right out of the brush. No respect. They're kind of just coming in, stealing the kennel away from the dog, and just be like, this is mine now. And now Kingsmen, they have the control of the map. The 50 line is all for them. Forza is right behind the tail of JPL, and the rest of the members from the side of Kingsmen, they are just going to be choking up onto JPL. But unfortunately, just a single win force gets him sliding right past of Kingsman's main line. And we are back to square one.
Yeah, but this time around, there's a huge minion wave onto the bottom side. They spot out the Roger, they spot out the Lapu Lapu. Are they going to commit to this fight? I don't think they will. It's going to be pretty much the same. Drag the Lord out, reset it, go for the split push, annoy Kingsman, and then hopefully look for another opening. It's deja vu. It's just game 1 all over again.
I think that is longer than game 1, if I'm not wrong.
Thankfully, we are sitting on our Secret Lab test.
Indeed.
So our butts are comfortable.
Very comfortable. Our back is very comfortable because of the lumbar support as well. I'm pretty sure that you guys will want to get yourself up with some Secret Lab chats, so make sure you take a look at secretlab.co for their new 2022 EVO series, whereby you've got some magnetic cushions right for your neck. And not to forget some adjustable lumbar support with a dial that's just going to be onto the side of your chair. One on the left, one on the right to adjust the tilt and to adjust the pan.
And then most importantly, you can move it in and up. and down, in and out, so you see back near gains just fine. So broadcasters that are casting 1 hour matches like this, no problem for us. Now, moving back into the game, EVOS actually once again sticking to what they know best, split pushing with the Hayabusa, and then trying to hopefully push Kingsmen into a bit of a trouble, but gear dropping very low. That could be the opening that they want, but Audio Bambi taking the safe route out. They know gear looks very tasty, but that is a risk they cannot afford to take.
Yeah, that would have been a tough call for Audio Bambi, because Adamir just literally just went in. He was ready to go in for the hook, and that would have put Audio Bambi in such a precarious positioning. In fact, I do see a diversion. They are moving down to the bottom lane. Take a look at the massive amount of damage that's going to be tossed right down to the side of Potato. Potato is going to be the first one to go straight down. Forza just getting himself away with just a sliver of health. Unfortunately though, because Jiro with the Demonic Force is just going to be gearing up to go for the main lines, and that is going to be Audio Bambi, going to be next in their eyes. But Audio Bambi though is just going to be safe and sound in the moment in time. Ju with just a sliver of health, and he does have a couple of shields right on top of him side as well. Almost going down, but Adamir, he does have a lot of mobility right on top of him. He's just going to be sliding right past on the Jew, and he's just going to be pushing every single one of the members from the side of Kingsmen away from the main line, and JPM manages to get one to side onto the side of Jew. The 1-for-1 trade. And Potato is the one that went straight down, but EVOS did not want to back down, even though their Hyper is the one that have been destroyed. But all in all, that was a lot more worse for the side of EVOS, because they have lost their middle lane inhibitor turret. And to make matters worse, Kingsmen is about to take the Lord, or are they? Because JPL is going to be going straight in with that unstoppable force, as well as the... Oh, they stole the Lord! Oh, the Lord is going to be taken down by the side of Lohi. Forza is going to be going straight down as well. I believe that he does have immortality though, but Gears is going to be shifting gears right on top of the side of Azura X. Yet another one bites the dust. But Gear is not stopping just yet. He still have a lot of health right on top of him. They have the Lord. They have a couple of kills. Forza's about to go down. In fact, Forza's going to go straight down right here. And Audio Bambi just going to be eating up the Astaros' eye. His movement speed has been dropped all the way down because of the Ice Queen one. Will JPL be able to get a land on? No, he will not. But all in all, it is a 3-man down from the side of Kingsmen. They have a Lord and marching right on the top lane. Bottom lane is just going to be pushed right in. Bottom middle lane is almost in as well. This standard melee camp is not going to end the game, but it is going to push Kingsmen all the way to the back against the wall.
And now, EVOS Ashy with the super minions down. 60 more seconds. Can they buy time? Audio Bambi, he's going to lose his immortality. But the flamethrower comes in from downtown. He's right on the mark. And they're going to end this game right here, right now. EVOS Ashy completes the 2-0 win.
The game has been tight. The game was tough. EVOS, they have